I'm an experienced hiker who has been hiking and trekking around the United States for 25 plus years. I live in Montana and hike around the state frequently. As such, I'd argue my knowledge of the flora and fauna and natural elements in general of my home state are above par. I know all about the dangers of brown bears and their infamous subspecies, the grizzly bear. I have not only read extensively about them, their habitats and behaviours, but have also taught courses myself to amateur hikers regarding bear avoidance and how to deal with specific bear behaviours and what to do if you do somehow come face to face with one. The reason I have this in-depth knowledge is because I used to be scared of bears. I still am in a way though, it's more a respect now than a fear. Learning about these creatures was a way for me to overcome my fear. However, one thing happened to me 10 years ago, something that instilled that cold fear back into me, something that I often tell as a side story in my courses that really ramifies how unpredictable bears can be. It was late summer in 2008 and I was hiking about 3 hours away from my hometown. The park I was hiking in was vast and natural. It was beautiful and despite being close to home, I was going to hike and camp there for a week. It was the third day in and this day was particularly sticky. The heat clung to me like a fly clinging to a spider's web and the sun was a burden. As such, I hiked roughly 10 miles less this day than the other days and spent most of my time sitting in the shade or cooling down by some source of water. It was about 2 PM and the sun was high in the sky, slowly roasting me like some fine cut of meat. I had been sat in the shade for about a half an hour when I came across a small stream running through the trees. It was a tiny stream, no more than a foot wide, but it ran quite deep and was flowing quickly. It was crystal clear. I crouched down and splashed my face, embracing the temporary respite from the inferno above. I sipped the water too and let it soak into me. I was probably there for about 5 or 10 minutes, collecting new provisions and resting up. When I heard it, I knew the sound instantly. A bear growl. It was coming from behind me. At this point, it was hard to judge if the bear was aggressive or defensive since I could not see it. I had to go with my gut instinct. And I opened my arms out wide and pushed them out to the side as if I was raising my arms whilst under arrest. I stood up slowly so as not to alarm the bear, but I couldn't stay crouched down. I looked too small. I turned around slowly to see an adolescent male brown. It was approaching me aggressively. I've come face to face with bears dozens of times and have never seen a brown bear as aggressive as this youngling. He was growling almost constantly. Ask anyone who knows about bears and they'll tell you that bear growling isn't as common as the movies make out. This was crazy. I began firmly and dominantly, telling the bear to leave, taking a step towards it. I've had bears stop when I've done this. I've had bears scuttle away in fear. This brown, it just kept coming, closer and closer. It was feet away from me now, prowling towards me. One golden rule is never turn your back on a bear, and another is stay firm and dominant. I did both. I stayed still, trying not to let my fear grow. It got right up close to me. I was sweating like a nun in a whorehouse. He gave me a quick sniff, and then he drove his teeth into my right arm and flung me around. I hit a tree trunk hard, and the bear released me from his grasp, and I slouched against its base. The bear approached me and bared its teeth, blood-infused saliva dribbling from its chin. I gripped my bear spray and unleashed it upon the beast's face. It finally recoiled, and I slipped away from between it and the tree, running through the woods, my mangled arm hanging limply and bloodied by my side. The bear would be able to smell blood, and if it wanted to come after me again, it would not find it difficult to find me. I needed to get to safety. I knew the park layout well and I knew where I needed to head, but with the adrenaline and shock from the incident, everything was a blur. Looking back, there's a genuine chance I was literally running in circles. I had to stop to tend my wound. It was risky, but so was passing out from blood loss. I hid in some thick bushes and set to work tying a tourniquet on my upper arm where I had been bit. I rehydrated and sat for a couple of minutes to regain my composure. I dared not stay still any longer, though there was nothing to say the bear was even still following me. I came out of the bush and headed to the nearest trail that would, albeit in a long time, lead me to a car park where I'd be able to flag some help. I set off at pace, not wanting to be in those woods any longer. I need to explain something here. About a 10-minute walk away from me at this point was an old abandoned fire lookout tower. I knew the tower was there, but at this moment in time, I had forgot. So understand that what happens next, well, I thought I was miles away from safety. I was on a trail at this point, and I looked into the line of trees to my left. I nearly had a heart attack as the bear was barreling towards me down through the trees. I grasped at my spray once more and noticed that the wind direction was blowing towards the brown. I waited until it was about 20 feet away, and then I sprayed the bear repellent, aiming slightly above head height so that it would fall onto the brown's eyes and nose. I was still running at this point. I'm glad I was. The bear didn't stop. It was blinking and sniffing, but it came coming after me. Bears are fast. Faster than humans. Faster than a delirious and dehydrated me. And this bear was gaining on me quick. Imagine my relief when I saw the lookout tower once I'd rounded a bend. I was invigorated with a new wave of energy, and I threw myself at the ladders and slowly made my ascent, my injured arm crippling my ability to move any faster. I felt the bear's mouth snap shut like a shark as it just missed my ankle, and I ascended the ladders and crawled into the tower. It was dead. It was dusty. But it was safe. I tried to drum up some electricity or get the radios working, but I had no such luck in doing so. I doubt, even if I had electricity, any of this junk would work. I went back to the lookout tower balcony and looked over. The bear was still there, on a public trail, boldly lying there, waiting for me. What the F was this bear's problem? What was he waiting for? Me. Behaviour like this is practically unseen, and I tried to frighten it off by throwing things at it and shouting, but it didn't leave. For now, I was safe, so I decided to settle in the lookout tower. I used what little water I had left to attempt to clean my wound and to rehydrate, and then I fell to sleep, exhausted and scared. The next morning, I woke up early and I gingerly opened the lookout tower door and peered over it. There was no bear. I double, triple, quad checked the perimeter and surrounding area. It was nowhere to be seen. I was about a 2-hour hike from the car park on capable legs. I was injured, shocked and exhausted by this time, but I had to leave. I had to go for it. I struggled down the ladders and practically fell some of the way down, landing in an agonising heap on the ground. I pulled myself up and hauled ass away from that tower. It took me 4.5 hours to make it, but I collapsed in the artificial dirt of that car park later on in the day and was aided by 3 other people. I was taken to a hospital where a park ranger visited me. I knew him from my time hiking his trails, and he was here on official business. He wanted my account of what happened, so I give it him, just as I have given it to you. He looked at me in disbelief. He turned to me and said, "You know, off the record, if I didn't know you, I'd call BS on this." I laughed and said I'm still calling BS on this. I learnt a valuable lesson that day. You can monitor, dissect, observe, and test animals in a million different ways over dozens of generations, but these creatures, they are wild, and their behaviours need to be treated as such. Hey guys, Brothers Jackson here. I hope you enjoyed that video. I really enjoyed reading that one myself, because we don't have bears over here in the UK. So basically, that is crazy for me. I've seen shows and films with them and stuff, but you know, Next week's video is 2 true scary phobia stories, so look out for that. And then after that, I think it's 3 true scary poltergeist stories. I've not actually recorded that yet, so I'm not sure. It might change over time. I have an update video coming out later this week, so please watch that. It's important. It's got a lot of updated information from the partner program update, a lot of new things that I'm doing, and my New Year's goals and that sort of stuff. So thank you so much for your support, guys. We're really gaining some traction on these videos. My last video, the 5 true scary stories from my home city, actually has been the most watched video on my channel since I've started getting back into the schedule. So that's really good news. Like I say, building some traction. I've added captions to 4 videos this week, which is just amazing for me. Like I say, I've had a week off, so it's good for me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more, guys. Peace out. Thank you for your support. Peace.